John, I love you, but you're wrong on this one.
By the way, I am in no way saying Biden's got to drop out, but can't we stress test this candidacy? Do you have any idea how thirsty Americans are for any hint of inspiration and a release from this choice of a megalomaniac and a suffocating gerontocracy? It is crushing our spirits. Do you have any idea?
Here's why you're wrong on this one. I could make the obvious argument that the primaries already happened and that voters have already spoken clearly and decisively. Joe Biden's candidacy has already been stress tested. He received 14 million votes, 87% of the votes cast in the entire primary process, and nearly has 3,900 delegates, making him the presumptive nominee, period. Now, I know you made the argument that Dean Phillips was his only competition and that he fucking sucked as a candidate, and that's a fair point. But the reality is no one else jumped into the primary process because they truly believe that Joe Biden has the party mandate. Because he actually does. It's not that people just want to sit idly by and just take the status quo. It's not that people don't want younger leadership. It's not that people are blind or in denial about Biden's age. The reality is that the vast majority of the Democrat Party at this point in time is practical and pragmatic. Joe Biden is a tried and true path of beating Donald Trump. He's beaten him before. He's currently the incumbent president. He's had historic policy wins. He's brought the world together, reuniting NATO and regained respect for our country in the international arena at a time when Donald Trump made us the fucking laughingstock of the world by being a fucking idiot. And on top of all of that, Joe has a proven track record of building a coalition of equitable opportunities for true diversity to flourish in the highest positions across the government enterprise. He served as vice president for 8 years to Barack Obama, a black man. He chose the first black woman vice president as his running mate in Kamala Harris. He appointed the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States, Ketanji Brown Jackson. He has also appointed more black lifetime judges than any previous president in a single term.
All right, guys, so more coverage of the Democrat Party civil war, okay? And it is important to pay attention to what the liberals are saying behind closed doors, but in this case, they're saying it on Jon Stewart's podcast. They are currently huddling to see what is the best path forward for the Democrats to beat Trump, okay? Now, you have one person, Jon Stewart, who says Democrats need to stop lying, right? Stop lying to the public about the state of Joe Biden. And then you have the Biden, no matter what, vote blue, no matter who, blue to Anon people like Bakari Sellers, who's the black guy in the conversation that is going to come up on the screen here in a minute. He's saying that, you know what, we should just stop talking about Joe Biden's age, a.k.a. Joe Biden's cognitive issues. And he pretends as if the conversation is just about age and not about anything else. Again, like Biden's cognitive issues. And Jon Stewart is going to confront Bakari Sellers on this gaslighting, and I want to react to it because I think conversations like this are insightful in the sense that it really shows you guys that Democrats are not really taking the moral high ground like they claim that they do. They lecture the rest of America on how you're supposed to be holier than thou. But these people are trying to find ways to justify getting behind an individual that's not actually really running the country because they just have to beat Trump, right? Which I find to be just, again, inexcusable, right? You're defending the indefensible because you hate Trump, but yet you want to claim this moral high ground over everybody else, which, you know, hey, at this point, I got to be honest with you guys. Although I think that Joe Biden should step down, okay, just from a principle perspective, I just don't believe that he should be running the country because he's not cognitively capable. I'm not running the Democrat Party. And if the Democrats decide to go with Joe Biden, then, hey, it probably plays into Trump's hands. It's probably going to give Trump a major advantage. So it seems, according to the polls. So, you know, hey, it is what it is, right? But that does not make the Democrats good people, okay? You are a bad person if you are advocating for people to vote for Joe Biden, despite knowing that he is cognitively declining. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Different scenario. Like if this was the third week in October, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, right? Like we wouldn't be having this conversation.
And Bakari, I would also suggest, you know, Bill Clinton on the eve of it all, it came out he had had an affair. I can't remember, Jennifer Flowers, I think it was. And then it was the Paula Jones situation. And then there was the Monica Lewinsky situation. And Democrats did fall in line. There were, I mean, people made, oh, this is terrible, and I'm disappointed with the president. But ultimately, the Democrats did fall in line. I think that you are soft selling the more fundamental aspect of people viewing somebody who, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't know of a job interview that you could have gone on and delivered the performance that was delivered by Joe Biden and gotten a job. And I'm not talking about the presidency. I'm talking about like cashier at Home Depot, like a job that you would not think, okay, that is the hardest job in the entire world.
The only problem with that, John, and the only problem with framing it as such is the fact that you discount everything that he's accomplished in the first 3.5 years.
No,
Well,
I don't.
know.
I don't at all.
But you do.
But he's not running for what he did 3.5 years. He's running for the next 4.
But nothing happens in a vacuum. And what we have to do is people just want to, my friends on the left, we want to only magnify what we saw at the debate, which is fine. I get it. We're talking about age, but I'm also talking about the accomplishments prior to and the threat that is right down the road. And I think, I mean, we do ourselves a disservice by saying our guy is old. We know that. He shuffles. We know that.
It's not old. It's not. Bakari, I think
What is it?
it is cognitive decline.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's cognitive decline, okay? And Bakari Sellers is trying to gaslight people into believing that, oh, you guys are just upset because Biden's old. Which, by the way, if this is what Democrats want to do, right? If this is what they're going to do, if they're going to stick with Biden and then tell everybody that, listen, guys, don't believe your lying eyes, okay? Joe Biden's just old. He's not cognitively declining. If this is what they want to do, be my guest, right? Be my guest. If this is what you want. But I don't think it's going to work anymore. But this is what they do, guys. When they get caught, what do? They double and triple down on the gaslighting. Oh, you guys are just upset about his age. Look at what he's accomplished in the last 3 years. So great. Not according to the American people. Not when you have a 35% approval rating. How can you say that what Joe Biden accomplished was good when the American people are telling you that it wasn't good? So again, you got two things happening here. The genius political strategist, Bakari Sellers, right? This is what he advertises himself as, is advocating for Democrats to not only roll with Joe Biden, who is deteriorating, okay, in front of our eyes. Let's roll with him, okay? He gives us the best chance of winning, which, again, could be true up until this point, according to the polls, but I'm not sure if that's going to be true in the next 2 or 3 months, right? But, it could be true right now. Roll with him, lie about it, right? Gaslight the American people. And then also gaslight the American people on the state of the country. This is what they're advocating for. This is what they want to do. Hey, I think that they're helping Trump win, to be quite honest with you, right? I think that the truth tellers, the people like the Jon Stewart, who was only telling the truth on this, by the way, I just want to be clear, okay? Just the truth tellers in this situation, that, hey, Biden's cognitively declining. We can't just lie about it to people. I think that they kind of realize from a moral perspective that you can't do that, but yet claim to be the good guys, right? We're going to lie to you, gaslight you. We're going to put a guy in office that is not running the White House, okay? A story came out about how Joe Biden, in his meetings with his cabinet secretaries, which apparently, by the way, is not very frequent, okay? He doesn't meet with his cabinet secretaries frequently. I think it was like a year ago the last time he met with his cabinet secretaries. But when he does meet with them, they're scripted, which means that Joe Biden's not running the country. Whoever is scripting these meetings, they're the people that's actually running the country. And Democrats want you to be comfortable with that. But yet they'll talk about democracy, right? Democracy. Well, how is it democratic for the person that these people voted for? Because I didn't vote for Joe Biden, right? How is it democratic for the guy that you voted for that's in office not actually being the person that is making the decisions, okay? Doesn't make sense. That's not democratic. So, again, this is what they do. They double and triple down on the corruption. They double and triple down on the gaslighting, the lies, and they just say, hey, let's just push forward, right? Let's just push forward. And, again, I think in this situation, in this case, it's going to backfire. It is not going to work.
It's not just age, it's cognitive decline. There are people
Or
who
at the
are
very least, it's an inability to communicate, right? Like I'm not a doctor, but like we need the candidate that we run for president needs to be able to communicate effectively. That's just the most basic. It's the most basic part of the job of being a candidate for president is you need to communicate effectively. And if you
or
can't do that
reassure us that here's how we operate in that environment. But to suggest that this discounts 3.5 years, it doesn't. But it does give you a window into the next 4. And if you look at his performance in 2020 versus his performance in 2024, there is inexorable decline.
Yes.
It's just,
No.
it's undeniable. So what I don't understand is, okay, fine, he stays, but deal with it head on. Stop pretending. Stop gaslighting like,
That's fine. Deal with it head on. That's fine.
Right.
But I don't want to silence the debate.
You do want to silence the debate, right? You absolutely want to silence the debate. This is why you gaslight when people are talking about it, because again, you know that it hurts Joe Biden, and instead of doing the right thing and calling it out for what it is and saying, hey, this guy actually is experiencing serious problems. No. You guys are just focused on his age too much, right? You definitely want to stifle the debate, 100%.
I think it's fine. I think it's healthy. Talk about it. Don't gaslight folks. That's fine. Like, I'm cool with that.
Oh, we're
but
good.
I'm also saying that there is a fucking monster that is November 4th, 5th, 6th,
Yeah,
whenever
we
the election
agree.
is.
I know.
We're getting our asses kicked by the monster.
That's what we're worried about. We're worried about the monster.
Listen, polls are reflection in time. And I do think that a lot of the hysteria that we are self-inflicting upon ourselves causes a lot of the reflection that we're seeing in these polls. And I would also argue that in 30, 45 days, you're going to see a race that is once again neck and neck and tight around the country.
It's a very
Delusional. Delusional. But if that's what you think, roll with Biden, right? Roll with Biden if that's what you think. I think that you're going to see Trump gain even more of a lead because Trump, unlike Joe Biden, is not going to make the mistakes that Joe Biden is definitely going to make, right, in the next few months. And the fact that Bakari Sellers is just flat out discounting that, which, again, that's what Democrats are actually worried about. They want Joe Biden to drop out now so that he doesn't make that huge mistake that guarantees he can't win. Right now, Joe Biden is hanging on by a thread, right? This idea that, okay, well, maybe up until Election Day, he can get it together, right? Which, again, is a prayer, right? This is a Hail Mary. This guy actually really believes that the polls are going to tighten up. Again, this is delusion.
polarized, closely divided electorate. The safest bet is a close race, and it's been a close race, right? But I have seen, and I've sat in these focus groups, you've sat in these focus groups for like the last several years, and people just, they are concerned, swing voters, undecided voters, young black voters, young people, Latino voters, they say over and over again, they're worried that Joe Biden's too old to be president. And they respect him. They don't like Donald Trump very much. They think Donald Trump's a liar. Some of them think Donald Trump's quite dangerous, but they're like, I don't think Joe Biden's up for it. And they've been telling us this for 3 years now.
I can tell you anecdotally, the individuals like my mom and her friends who were all in responded to that debate with tears and with fears and with reality. And the administration's inability to deal with that honestly and forthrightly, to me, is almost more damaging than the actual debate itself. And it shows a disconnect or an inability to be agile and honest. And that's more troublesome to me than almost anything else.
Don't disagree with anything you said. My only point would be that my mama and her friends, who usually are the ones who determine who the Democratic Party nominee is, like the black women in her chat group, they refer to themselves as the quote unquote posse. They were hurt. They were saddened. They said he got his ass kicked. They said he was old as hell. But at the end of the day, they were more resolved than ever to call their girlfriends and say, we're going to vote for him. And then one thing they admonished me about was we don't need any more chaos. They don't want any more chaos. They're going to ride with Joe Biden, and they don't want an open convention. They don't want they don't want any of that.
But you don't think white knuckling it with Joe Biden is chaos?
But it's the chaos we know.
Wow. So your family's in a cult. You're in a cult too, because that's cult-like behavior. Oh, we know that this guy can't actually run the country and that he is cognitively declining. We know that he's embarrassing us on the world stage. World leaders are mocking the United States of America because of our leadership. Oh, we know all that. But Trump bad, right? So we're going to ride with Biden. It's a cult, man. Blue Anon, right? Blue Anon and Trump derangement are going to be the downfall of the Democrat Party. And it is hilarious. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.